My mother and my grandparents really taught us a lot of things. And one of the things I remember is they taught me how to be a gentleman, how to be polite to people. And my grandfather definitely modeled that in the way he lived his life, the way he treated women, the way he treated my grandmother. And I saw it all the time, opening doors, just being kind to people. And so I try to apply that in my life on a daily basis and just to be kind. And always, like the Bible says, consider others better than yourself, or look at the needs of others above your own needs, which can be very difficult, don't get me wrong. And I don't always get it right. But I remember one day I was headed to a restaurant and fast food place and opened the door. And as I got ready to open the door, I noticed people were behind me coming. There was a couple ladies and the guys and whoever, a bunch of people. And I tried to open the door for them. Opened the door and let them go in. And they was like, thank you. And they went in and they ordered in front of me. And so I had to wait for 5 to 6 people to order their food for being a gentleman. And so part of me's like, what I get for that? I should have just went in and got my own food and I've been sitting down eating. Now I'm hungrier because I'm waiting on them. So what do I get for being kind? Well, our verse talks about today. Our verse today talks about what we get for being kind. In our 11th day in our series, Get Wisdom. Hello, everybody. Mr. Brown here with Proclaim Ministries, and this is our 11th day of our series, Get Wisdom. And our verse today is Proverbs chapter 11, verse 17, which says this: a man who is kind benefits himself, but a cruel man hurts himself. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 17. Now, you can get all of this on our Instagram, and we made nice little images. I think they're nice because I made them. They would be nice if my wife would have made them, but you can get those on Instagram, so follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram is Proclaim Ministries. These videos are on YouTube and on Twitter. We tweet them out too. And there's a daily text devotion that sends out a verse. Usually we say stuff in our text devotion, but this series we're just giving you the verse of the day for Proverbs. I think it's a pretty smart thing to read the Proverb of the day. But anyway, back to my story. I'm thinking, what did I get for that? I got to be like number 7 for being kind. But this verse is telling me a man who is kind benefits himself. I didn't get no benefit from it. I actually hurt myself, I would think, right? Because I didn't get to eat faster. And maybe it was good for me because I shouldn't have been to fast food place. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But in this passage here, actually in verse 17 through 21, this commentary kind of breaks it off as a section. And they say this, that it's contrasts the outcomes of the wicked to the righteous. So let me read chapter 17 to 21. I'm going to share some more things with you in a minute. But chapter 17 again, verse 17, our verse is, a man who is kind benefits himself, but a cruel man hurts himself. Verse 18, the wicked earns deceptive wages, but one who sows righteousness gets a sure reward. Whoever is steadfast in righteousness will live, but he who pursues evil will die. Those of crooked heart are an abomination to the Lord, but those of blameless ways are his delight. Be assured, an evil person will not go unpunished, but the offspring of the righteous will be delivered. And there's a lot more. Again, the Proverbs are a bunch of sayings, and I would call them truisms, things that are true. Again, Proverbs are not promises that God is bound to, but they're truisms. Learn from history, learn from experience, and just learn from life in general. And so this one, at face value, kind of, makes you think, really? Because sometimes they say nice guys finish last, right? That when you're kind to people and you're nice and people walk all over you. I heard a saying growing up, see a fool, use a fool, right? And so many of us have these defenses on, and we don't want to be our true selves. We don't want to be kind to people because we're afraid somebody's going to use us and abuse us. And I'm not saying we should be walked all over, but there's a point where I don't want to let people change who I am. So even though I opened the door for those people and I became the 7th in line instead of the 1st in line, which I should have been, and no one even offered, hey, go ahead and get, no one offered. And if they would offer, I would be like, no, I'm good, go ahead. But they didn't even offer. So it's like, man, make me think twice, right? Should I keep doing that? Well, I think I should, because I believe this verse is true, not only from experience. Well, number 1 is in the Bible. Number 2, from experience. A man who is kind benefits himself. Not only that, I think being kind to other people benefit them too. But when you do right to other people, there's something that you get out of it anyway. And I think we have to get to a point where we're going to do right regardless of people's responses. You learn that in marriage. that to outserve your spouse regardless of they want what they give you. And I think unconditional love, the love that Christ gave us, was he did what he did without any consideration what would come back in return. Romans chapter 5, verse 8. God showed his love for us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. While we were still in our sin, Christ died. He knew that many people will reject his payment, but yet he still died for us. In the same way, I should be modeling that in my relationships, that I should be giving 100% to others, being kind to others without expecting anything in return. And that is hard because we're always thinking about ourselves. But this verse reminds me, a man who is kind benefits himself. I'm going to get something in return. It may not be physical. It might not be adoration. It may not be even thank you for opening the door for 6 people to go in front of me. Didn't even get a thank you. But that's okay because I am the kind of person I am, and I'm okay with that. So I'm going to be kind to other people regardless of what they do to me. On the other hand, the cruel man hurts himself. When you're treating people bad, it's going to get bad. As a matter of fact, the Bible says you reap what you sow, right? You reap what you sow, and we've taken that statement in our culture and we said what goes around comes around. And so both are true, I think. And so for me, to be kind is so much more beneficial to you as a person, to me as a person, to your own livelihood, your own personality, everything. It's just beneficial to you. So choose to be kind to people. Be kind because it's going to benefit you. Not only you, it's going to honor God and benefit the people you're being kind to and benefit you. And I'm leaving you with this last thing. Years ago, when I was looking for this tweet. I don't know how many years ago, but I was looking on my phone, going through my Twitter account, trying to find the actual tweet because I wanted you to see it. But I don't remember what year it was, but I spoke at a high school, and a couple weeks later, I saw a lot of students follow me. And one of the girls at the school, I could tell what school it was because she had said something about the school. But she tweeted and she says something to this effect. She said, "I'm always going an extra mile for everybody else. When is somebody going to do something? When am I going to get something in return?" I'm always going an extra mile for everybody else. When am I going to get something in return? And for me, this was like when Twitter, I first got on Twitter and I heard people would have arguments sometime on Twitter. You say stuff to people and I ain't want to be a part of none of that. But I wanted to say something. And I'm like, man, I should say something. Should I say something? And I was kind of worried. And so I did. I finally tweeted back. And I tweeted to her and I said this. When you go the extra mile for the people, you always get something in return. A better you. And I was like, okay. I tweeted, put my phone down. Like, okay, what's going to happen? It's going to blow up. She's going to be like, I wasn't talking to you. What's going to happen? And she replied, thank you. And then she retweeted it. A couple of her friends retweeted it. And I'm like, okay, whew, deep breath. We good. But the point is this. When you go the extra mile for other people, even if they don't do for you, you always get something in return, a better you. That's exactly what this verse is saying. A kind man, a man who is kind, benefits himself, but a cruel man hurts himself. So are you going to be the person that chooses to be kind to other people and make that who you are, part of your character, part of your DNA, knowing that it's going to benefit those around you and it will also benefit you? Man, this is a good nugget. Hopefully you take it and use it in your journey to get wisdom. Oh, yeah.